Hey guys! So we often talk about space here on this channel, about its unlimited emptiness and the mysteries that are hidden in its endless depths. However, in the thousands of years of human history, we still haven't been able to solve all the mysteries of our own planet. We've only studied 5% of the world's oceans, which was the main reason for the theory of the sunken city of Atlantis, where supposedly a very ancient and advanced civilization lived. This topic has been shown in various movies, games, and books for decades. But is there even an ounce of truth to Atlantis? Or is it just a fairy tale? Let's dig deeper together and take a look back at history. So, the beginning of the story of Atlantis comes from many of Plato's works. You've probably heard of this ancient philosopher before. In reality, he loved discussing life, but also dabbed in physics, political science, and traveling. As part of high society, Plato drew upon the stories of people he talked to, and the world first heard about Atlantis in his dialogue works. He described this mysterious country in extreme detail. According to him, the island was larger than Libya, and it had no equal in economical or cultural development. Plato said the country's capital was on an island in a valley with a small mountain. Now, excluding all the mythology inherent to the works of ancient Greek philosophers, modern scientists studied many details of previously unknown civilizations, but researchers haven't been able to find evidence of any kind of people living before the Greeks in modern Greece for centuries now. We could write this all off as just an embellishment of the truth, which was common for the people of that time, if there wasn't a but. In 1900, Englishman Arthur Evans began an excavation on the island of Crete, near Greece. North of the island near Knossos, he found the remains of a huge palace from an unknown culture near Mount Juktas. The discovery had 2 or 3 floors, not counting basement space, that had a cellar, workshops, food storage, weapons, and dungeons. The palace entrance was made up of small and large throne rooms and religious rooms. They found over 2,000 clay tablets with various writings in the palace. The rich decoration of several rooms, the massive amount of items made from valuable metals, the highly artistic wall fresca, and the spacious storage areas all point to the palace being a place for kings and rulers of Knossos and all of Crete. The total area of the excavated palace is over 250,000 square feet. Evans and his students dug and found similar things in Malia, Gornia, Phaistos, and other places. That's how the world learned that there was another powerful culture in ancient Greece before the Greeks that was previously unknown. Today, that culture is often called Cretan or Minoan. So, the Atlantis described by Plato could really exist. The location fits what was described by ancient Greek philosophers. Moreover, it's extremely difficult to imagine another large civilization that could have neighbors like the Minoans and still be undiscovered. But how did an entire culture fall? Scientists have differing opinions. Research of submerged surfaces using modern methods found that the islands in the eastern part of the Mediterranean Sea since antiquity have been in an extremely seismically unstable area of the Earth's crust. Crete and nearby islands in the Aegean Sea experienced earthquakes and volcanic eruptions during a time when parts of the land were swallowed by the sea. So, for example, scientists were able to determine that the Aegean Sea experienced several powerful earthquakes that completely destroyed ancient buildings. They determined these powerful earthquakes happened in the 18th century BCE. The palaces in Knossos, Phaistos, Malia, and Gornia on Crete, as well as other islands, were hypothetically destroyed during that time. Additionally, eruption from the Santorini volcano in the Aegean Sea in the mid-2nd millennium BCE led to the deaths of a powerful Mediterranean empire whose center was on Crete, a former birthplace for ancient European civilization. The eruption was so catastrophic it's hard to even imagine how anything could have survived that hell in the Mediterranean. Volcanic ash from the Santorini eruption traveled thousands of miles from the epicenter. Modern scientists took ground samples from the seafloor in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. It turned out that 80 miles southeast of Santorini was a layer of ash 7 feet thick, and there was a layer about 2.8 feet thick on the northeastern part of the island. Think of typical snowdrifts, and you'll be able to imagine how much ash was falling from the sky. Now, scientists from the University of California in the US could determine that the most powerful volcanic eruption in human history happened in the 2nd millennium BCE on an island in the Aegean Sea. Its force was about 2,000 times stronger than the powerful nuclear weapon that led to the tragedy of Hiroshima. However, over time, many scientists have started to doubt Plato's words. Clear evidence comes from the argument that his description of Atlantis is very literary. The philosopher's works describe in detail the creation of an ancient civilization that Poseidon personally helped build. So if that part was clearly made up, why would the rest be true? Moreover, what if the strong ancient dreamer Plato simply imagined something and also came up with a logical explanation why no one had found Atlantis? He describes in his dialogues in detail the Santorini volcanic eruption. So, for an extremely long period of time, archaeologists could only rely on Plato's words. However, excavations and searches for lost ports of the world continued elsewhere. Using various sightings of Atlantis in other ancient works from varying philosophers, archaeologists were able to determine another potential location for the ancient civilization in the Atlantic Ocean. In the late 1970s, a Soviet research team was searched for Atlantis 300 miles off the coast of Portugal, between the continent and Madeira Island. In March 1979, representatives from the Soviet side said they had found submerged walls and stone stairs on the floor of that part of the Atlantic Ocean. Additionally, there are more exotic versions of what happened to the lost civilization. One hypothesis is that Antarctica is the lost Atlantis. It's based on cartographic artifacts that were supposedly made based on dozens of ancient maps written by civilizations with advanced sailing that existed over 15,000 years ago. This hypothesis is described in detail by author Graham Hancock in his book, Fingerprints of the Gods. Now, according to the author, Antarctica was moved to the South Pole after a lithospheric displacement. It was previously closer to the equator and not covered in ice. However, this theory is contradicted by modern scientific evidence on the geological movement of the continents. In addition, in the 16th and 17th centuries, many explorers frequently loved to write about Atlantis, connecting it to Brazil or Britain. It's possible Atlantis really existed, and it's not important who stood at its beginning and what became its end. What is important is that a series of irrefutable pieces of evidence on our planet tell us that we really don't know much about the Earth. Although most scientists treat the existence of Atlantis as a typical philosophical myth from Plato, who never made it a goal to tell his readers about real facts. As far as what killed Atlantis, it's obvious that by creating this country, Plato should have destroyed it simply for outward appearances. Now, it's fully possible that after decades and more advanced technology, we may finally end the discussion on the existence of Atlantis once and for all. So that's all for today. Be sure to leave a like and comment. Let me know, do you believe? Is Atlantis a real place? Yes or no? And we'll see you again next time.